Okay, welcome to a new year and a new episode of The Time of Our Wives with your host, Capricorn,
And I'm Gemini,
the other wife, yes.
the other wife.
I was always like,
Okay,
wife one, wife two. I had a whole discussion the other day about this because I was like, would you be offended if, like, I put you as number one because you're older than me, but also two is my favorite number? That's why on the credits on the last time, I was just like wife and wife
okay. I noticed that it was wife and wife,
because I didn't want to make it weird.
but I think you just called me the other wife.
Well, I'm also the other wife.
No, you designated me the other wife, which is fine. I can be the other wife.
You could be the other wife.
I don't mind. I'll be the other.
The other?
The other.
That just sounds weird.
Well, that's fitting.
I mean, that's fine. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So hi, I'm Gemini, and I'm the other wife.
I'm Capricorn. I'm the other wife.
The wife.
The wife. We're going to be talking today about Bridgerton episodes 5 and 6. So this is a continuation of our last episode about Bridgerton. Again, we will be spoiling things. If you have not seen episode 5 and 6, and the ones before that for that matter, and you don't want spoilers, then don't listen yet. Wait until you've watched it.
Or
Just listen.
just listen because you want spoilers. I don't know if that's actually a thing. Never
I
mind.
mean, I love spoilers, so
I know you do.
it's very
You
weird.
don't like to be surprised. Me,
I-
like, stop talking.
I hate
Okay.
surprises. Okay, anyways.
So we decided to split this up. I'm gonna do episode 5 recap, and Capricorn, my lovely wife, will be doing episode 6 recap.
Yes, we decided to be slightly more organized this time because we realized that there was so much that we were trying to think on that we ended up missing a lot of little things. So.
Also, you didn't even give me a heads up that we were going to record after we watched.
I mean, you, being a Gemini, you like surprises.
I did it, but then I was like, I forgot to mention her punch. So yes, so we didn't get to talk about the punch. Daphne's punch to, I can't even remember the guy's name. Creeper McGee.
That sounds perfect. I was thinking that too early. I was like, I need to remember that guy's name, and then I said, why? He's gross, and then I forgot.
He was gross.
He was so gross.
But that's okay, because Daphne handled that shit like a true pro.
She did, actually.
I think that's a goal for this is one of my New Year
This
resolutions.
is your 2020
Okay,
one.
I'm going to learn how to punch Creeper McGee's.
That sounds good.
I mean, in case I need to. I'm not going to go out, I'm not a violent person, so I'm not going to go out and
Right.
find somebody to punch just because I want to punch somebody. But I might need self-defense.
Like, what if you're unchaperoned in the garden at night at a
Right.
ball,
Right.
and your brother's trying to marry you off?
These things could happen.
I mean, especially, you know how hard it is to run in a corset? Probably really hard.
Okay, because I was going to say no, not
Well,
at all.
I was going to say, have you worn a corset? I don't think you've ever put
I
one on.
think you made me wear. That sounds terrible.
That's
You did not make me wear one. I think you were like, hey, I have this corset. Let's put it on you.
And that sounds kind of dirty. Which that's fine if that's what you're into. But I just like costumes, so I think I need to clarify that too. I need to clarify. I do love wearing costumes. I have a couple Regency dresses, and I have one that I'm working on as well. Eventually, I'll finish it. I do have a Regency era corset that I love to wear. It was actually kind of fun to wear. So yeah, so I was like, here, put this on, try it. It's great. And everyone's like, why would you do that? And I was like, well, because. But that being said, I'm also not a person that ever runs. So while I have put on this corset, I have not tried to run in it, and I don't think I ever would anyway. So let's just say it's hard enough to breathe, so it would be super hard to run.
I don't want to run.
I don't feel like running
But
either.
this is why I need a good right hook.
Yes, that's fair.
I mean, ultimately, let's bring it back to my New Year's resolution of learning how to punch Creeper McGee.
Okay, that sounds good. We'll take it.
We're doing self-defense classes.
Okay. Okay. I know you're serious.
I'm so serious.
Okay. Now we have...
see the seriousness on my face right
I don't, because I'm looking at your dog.
now. I mean, she's beautiful.
She's something. Okay, so now let's move on to our...
episode. Okay, so episode 5, the title of this episode is The Duke and I. So, episode 5 starts right where episode 4 leaves off. And it's Daphne coming back to the house and creeping. That was not the word. Creeping back into bed. But no, she wasn't creeping. She was sneaking, quickly changing her clothes and getting into bed like she's been there the whole night. So when Rose came in,
Sorry, all I'm thinking about is The Lonely Island, The Creep. You know that song, the Do the Creep? Oh, Do the Creep. Never mind, I'll show it to you later. It's funny. If anyone hasn't seen the Lonely Island video for The Creep, just watch it. I'm sorry, continue.
I've lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So episode 5, Daphne... Okay, no.
Daphne returns to her boudoir.
No. I wanted to say something else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, this is a mess. Okay. In episode 4, at the end, Daphne realizes that Cressida? Woo! Crusade. No, Cressida. Cressida actually did see her and the Duke in the garden.
Hot makeout session. Okay, so we have Cressida.
Okay, so Cressida definitely saw her. And she demands to know where the duel is. And of course, her brother is like, oh, don't worry your pretty little head, or whatever. Let the men handle the business, or whatever. And she's like, F you.
Down with your patriarchy.
This is my life, right? We need to stop this now. Right. This is stupid. We need to stop it.
And it's more at stake now because now it's the whole family unit.
Because of scandal.
Yes.
The scandal could get out. So, anyway, she rides gallantly. I have to say, like, the scene of her riding the horse to stop the duel, she was, like, badass. I was like, Daphne's my girl.
Is she a girl?
She is my girl.
Okay.
She was badass on that horse. She was like, I don't even care. I'm gonna ride this horse full speed ahead, right into the middle of a duel, and get shot at. But anyways, so we start episode 5 with the end of that. She crawls back into bed, and Rose wakes her up, and she's like, oh, is my mother awake? Immediately, like, first thing comes out of her mouth. Is mother awake yet? So she goes down, and she's like, Mom, yeah, I'm engaged.
And her mom's like, wow.
Wow, you're gonna be a princess. She's like, no, actually not.
She's like, yeah,
she's like, also, by the way, I want to get married in 3 days. And her mom's like, you need a fast marriage. And she's like, Mom, it's not all that.
It's a Disney fast pass, but to the altar.
I mean, exactly. And she's like, well, I understand how it can be, young love. Woo-hoo-hoo. So that's the first time in the episode where the mother mentions sex. Indirectly.
I was going to say, does she mention or does she
No, it's completely indirect. And that's a point for later because I kind of was like counting when sex was implied. But the fact that they didn't actually give you full information.
As many kids as her mom has had, she still seems very reluctant to impart any of this wisdom on her eldest daughter to prepare her for...
She's oblivious. And she knows she's oblivious. And
it's problematic.
It's extremely problematic. She's feeling nervous. The way that they ended it, it's Daphne feels like she's forcing Simon to marry her to save her honor. So the main theme for episode 5 is Daphne and Simon's feeling towards each other. They both are having guilt.
Mm-hmm.
They both feel like they have trapped the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Daphne, because she's trying to save her family's name. It's not just about her and Simon. It's about her entire family.
I felt so bad for Simon too, just watching him of this. I feel so bad because he was really, really, really struggling with this, like, oh my God, I'm the worst, like,
yes,
the worst person ever. And I'm like, I'm glad that you actually care this much.
I mean, right. I understand that he doesn't want to trap her because, as we find out, Simon's big thing is he does not want to have children.
Right.
He can't have children is what he tells Daphne. I can't give you children. I know that's what you want.
Right.
But she's like, oh, we're getting married. Boom.
Too late.
Too late. It's happening. So she's protecting her family and her honor. You can definitely tell that she cares for Simon.
Mm-hmm.
Simon feels like she's trapping her. He actually gets drunk and he's like, has anybody heard of the trapped wife or whatever, like
Trapped in cabinets, trapped in cabinets.
What?
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's a reference. It's Mighty Boosh.
You know too many things. You throw me
it's
every time.
It's one of their things. They're kept in cabinets, trapped in cabinets. Can I get out? Will I get out? Sure I will. Never mind.
So they both are feeling like they are trapping the other one into a marriage that they do not want. Daphne doesn't think that Simon cares for her, that Simon wants to be married, but it's the necessary thing that has to happen in her eyes. So they carry on with their it's not courting now, it's engagement, proposal.
I think it's their engagement.
Is that what they officially call it? Their engagement business. They want to get married fast. So there is another instance of the honeymoon is mentioned. So another where sex is implied, but not directly.
It was more introduced as
the honeymoon.
The marital act in order to have children. That's generally how it was kind of.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that far. It wasn't even, the children weren't even mentioned. I mean, no, that's not true. Children were mentioned.
Right.
But not as the marital act. So the focus was on the honeymoon.
Right.
So again, the honeymoon, when they're at the dressmakers and they're getting the bridal things ready. The mother asked for 5
nightgowns.
And she's like, I don't think I'll need 5 nightgowns. And of course, the dressmaker,
Modiste,
is that her name?
Yeah. Well, she's called the Modiste.
She is like, they're not for you. They're for your lover.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and you could see the confusion on Daphne's face. And she was like, okay, I'm not quite like honeymoon, okay, but what's going to happen? Like, I can see the terror in her face of the not knowing, like having absolutely no idea exactly what's going to happen. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. And the fact that nobody, like, I guess they do. Oh, okay. Ignore that. But anyways, it's terrifying that she doesn't have any idea. So the wedding happens. They get married, and then they're at the reception. And she's trying to get Simon's attention, and he's just not looking at her. So she's like, oh my gosh, he won't make eye contact with me, la la la, whatever. And she gets upset, and she ends up going up to her room, and her mother follows her. And now, after being married, this is when the mom decides that it's time for the talk. Except for the talk consists of, hounds in the country. Nobody tells them how to do it, but we still get puppies.
Which, did you laugh about how Daphne thought it was tickling to her how they were Basset hounds because Simon's last name is Bassett?
Okay, no, of course I didn't get that.
Oh, she said something, because she said, we have those hounds in the country.
And she was like,
and Daphne said, and Bassett's no less. Ha ha. It was one of those, it was cute.
I
thought it was funny. It was one of those, like, roll your eyes funny, though, to me, but it's fine.
But also, I forgot that his last name was Bassett. I just referred to him as the Duke or Simon. So
right.
I didn't catch that. So no one told them how to do it. It's the act to produce children.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right.
That is what she got.
If you want puppies, there you go.
If you want puppies, figure it out like the Hounds did.
Right.
That's it. And Daphne is like, okay, but I definitely want some more information, and then they get interrupted because it's time for them to go.
Right.
Poor Daphne.
I know.
Poor Daphne. I'm just like, you can see that she does not want to be ignorant.
Right.
But what choice does she have if they don't tell her?
She knows, especially with someone with his reputation, like, he knows all about it, and then
I mean,
some.
and remember, he did teach her
true.
how to touch herself.
That is true. So she's just like...
When I think about you, I touch myself. Okay. Sorry.
It's Daphne's theme song.
That's Daphne's. That is Daphne's theme song.
Oh my god.
Can you make that happen?
No.
Please?
No.
Make it? No?
No.
Okay. So, she definitely knows. So they are in the carriage. They're driving. She finds out, oh, we're staying at the inn.
Yeah.
Is it a hotel inn? What is it called? It's not a hotel in Regency times. And the inn. And she's like, oh, okay.
Motel 6.
Well, you're not even speaking to me.
We'll leave the lantern on for you.
I love you. I love you so much.
That's all I can think of now.
So they get to the inn.
Mm-hmm.
She finds out that he's going to have a separate room. She's like, okay, great. Literally pacing and pacing and pacing in the room. And then, like, the thing happens where she goes to the door and you know he's going to be there and she opens the door.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. Everybody knows that. And he's like, let's go to dinner. And she's like, the fuck? Like, literally, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is happening? Do you hate me? What is going on? I don't understand.
Right. She's like, I haven't had an actual conversation with you for
right.
like 3
You have
days.
not even looked at me.
Right.
Because they have to ask the queen for permission or to try to help get the 3 days. Because the queen just, like, blocks it because she's kind of mad that the prince isn't marrying Daphne. And so they go to ask the queen for, like, special permission to get married fast. And this is where the Duke confesses in, like, this really romantic, it wasn't love at first sight, we became friends first, and we just like to be with each other, and, you know, like, confesses all of the truth of their courting wasn't actually courting, it was, you know,
everything was a
ruse.
lie, except we actually fell in love.
Except for we actually fell in love, and, like, you can see Daphne's face, so she's like, is there hope? Does he actually care for me?
Right. She's either thinking that or thinking he's really good at lying and making up stories.
That's what you would be thinking.
Probably.
But, so in that moment, that was very Mr. Darcy to me.
Oh, yes. So, yes.
I most ardently. Sorry.
That's the quote.
I don't remember. That's why you looked at me and I was like, am I wrong?
No, it's funny because I wrote that quote down, but for a different reason, for later.
Well, yeah, because again, like, he's very much, like, yes. Okay, so he's very much Mr. Darcy.
Oh, yeah.
So this was a whole thing. They win the queen over. They're actually allowed to get married. And the queen is like, have fun on your marriage night, or,
yeah,
you know, whatever. Again, sex is implied, but not actually discussed.
It's said, but not enunciated.
Yeah, and it bothers me. It bothers me only because that's probably seems true to the times. But then, like, we get all this naked time. Okay, so now that I had to jump around a little bit, she's pacing in the room. He comes in. She's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
He's like, "You don't understand." And she's like, you are clearly upset. I don't know what you're feeling. I don't know what you want.
Right.
He's like, I burn for you. And she's like, bitch, please. If you would have been paying attention at all, dude, I burned for you too. And it's like, bro, I burned for you. Bro, I burned for you. Yeah.
Bro, we're so in love, bro.
We're so in love. Totally ship it. So anyways, so the burning, which again just feels like a very Mr. Darcy emotion.
It wouldn't be a paperback romance if there was not some sort of inference of some fiery element.
Truth.
On the back cover. I mean, there's always, if you pick one up, so and so and so and so, and this fiery something. It's always something. So of course I was waiting for that. I burn for you, and I'm like, ooh.
Yes. So she very much is attracted to the Duke.
I mean,
she very much wants to rip his clothes off.
Who doesn't at this point, honestly?
I mean, really honestly. But what I like is he kisses her neck and he's like, is this okay? I want to show you more.
Right.
I was like, oh, thank you for getting permission.
Yes.
Thank you for checking in.
He is actually really great.
He is. I mean, he's a little bit dramatic.
He's a little dramatic and he has his problems.
And brooding and all and whatever. But like,
he's our Darcy.
He is our Darcy. So, so that is Daphne and Simon in the episode. But that wasn't the only thing that happened in the episode. There's a few other characters that we touch on. One, Marina. The whole Marina thing is going on.
Marina is still preggo.
With child.
Yes.
And trying to find somebody
to marry
quickly. It is not impressed by the choice that she has.
No. Which who would be, honestly?
Really, because he treats her like a piece of cattle. And was appraising her in the other episode.
Yeah.
I am conflicted with Marina. Like, this is her card. This is what she's dealt with. She's got to make the best.
Right.
She really enjoys Colin. And she notices Colin is like, okay, well, maybe I could do this with Colin.
Right.
Like, he's somebody acceptable and I could do this.
She's like, I could land that, like, now.
Right. So that is how Marina is going on. And Penelope, of course, is conflicted.
Yes.
Why him out of everybody?
Because, of course, Penelope is harboring a secret crush on her best friend's slightly older brother.
Yes. And then another character I wanted to hit on in this episode was Eloise.
Yes.
Okay. Eloise is Sherlock.
She's very Sherlock.
She is so Sherlock.
Except I almost want to put it to you that she's not Sherlock. Because she's almost a Watson, and it's something that we kind of will see a little bit later, I think. Like, she's sort of on the right path, but I've noticed, like, she has these, like, aha moments, or she's like, oh, look at me, I've figured it out, look what I've got. Except she doesn't have jack shit. And so...
Okay, I get it.
She
wants to be the Sherlock.
She wants to be Sherlock, except I've noticed Penelope is actually much more in tune with things.
Yes. Oh my God, are Sherlock and Watson?
Probably.
I'm so excited.
Because Penelope is actually the one piecing real things together. Getting answers.
No, I love Penelope.
Like, I've noticed that. I was like, she's actually pretty smart. And she's pretty good at deducing things and finding clues and sorting through them. Whereas Eloise is trying her best. She's just not quite there.
She's not there. But the Queen does...
she overhears
accusing accusing somebody of being Lady Whistleblown.
Lady Snowden, is that what
Snowden? Lady Snowdown? Lady, what is it?
Is it whistleblower?
Is it whistleblower?
No, I'm just
Lady
Snowden, whistleblower.
I got it. I just legitimately cannot remember her name.
Lady Whistledown.
Whistledown.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, the Queen overhears Eloise
She's accusing Lady Danbury, which of course Lady Danbury is an excellent choice.
I mean, she excellent.
Fits the profile. She's got the attitude.
Right.
But she's not Lady Whistledown.
Right. So the queen is like,
tell me everything.
Are searching. Let's work together.
Right.
So now Eloise has this assignment.
Right.
She's, she's the sleuth for the queen.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun too, and I'm excited to see where that goes. And again with Penelope and her, they kind of have a fight.
Yeah.
But they end up coming together again.
Yeah, they have a little bit of a tough period, but it's because they both have a lot of things going on, and they're not really able to be there for each other because of what each has going on. So it kind of ends up putting a block in the relationship, but they reconcile that pretty quickly, so it's not too bad.
That is my synopsis of episode 5. Mainly Daphne and the Duke. Of course, the episode is called
The Duke and I.
The Duke and I. We get to see some action on the honeymoon night.
Yeah.
That's definitely not something that you would see in
Pride and Prejudice
and Jane Austen's stories. But I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not complaining.
Lots of butts.
There were so many butts. I mean, butts are cute, so that's good. Duke's
that's
so
fine.
Cute, but
yeah.
I really, I'm down. I'm down with that. So that is my chaotic summary of episode 5. So now it is your turn, my love, my Capricorn, to describe episode 6.
Okay.
I literally have one note.
Oh my god.
Episode 6.
So, all right. So the breakdown, episode 6, is entitled Swish. I do want to preface this really quickly because Netflix does have content warnings at the beginning of every episode, and I like to pay attention to them because I like to have I like spoilers, so give me a heads up of like, what am I in for? Language, nudity, sexual content, whatever. Great. But I did notice from the very beginning there was a content warning for sexual violence. So I'm going to give a brief content warning because there is the topic of sexual violence does come up, and it does come up in episode 6. Like I said, Netflix does warn you. It's nothing incredibly horribly graphic, but it can be triggering to some people. So I just want to give the heads up, and right before we talk about it again, I will give another heads up in case anybody wants to skip that little section. So, okay, on to episode 6 then. Alright, so with episode 6, we have Daphne and the Duke arriving at his home, which is Cliveden, I believe. I kept meaning to write it down and I kept forgetting. It's spelled very weird. So they get to this huge, huge home. It's beautiful. Like, it's amazing. I would love to go visit there.
It's like a castle.
It is like a castle, basically. It's just, and the grounds. I love it. So there, Daphne meets Mrs. Coulson, who is her new housekeeper. Alright, so Daphne's settling in as Duchess. Mrs. Coulson's stressed to her limit because Daphne's trying her best, but it's like she's trying too hard.
She's trying so hard, and it's obvious she's not quite mature.
Well, her mother prepared her very well, it seems, except, like she mentions in the episodes, I don't think that either one of them expected it to be a household of that kind. It was
right.
It was more, I'll prepare you to run a household, not a freaking mansion out in the middle of nowhere where you have
where you have
a whole bunch of people
to be responsible for.
Right. So she has some ideas, and she's coming in with those, and Mrs. Coulson's trying to be amenable and trying to help her, but you can tell she's a little bit she's a little stressed.
A little peeved.
Yeah. So there's like a brief moment, of course, then that she shows Daphne the nursery, and this kind of keeps coming up in this episode, just repeatedly, like really now that they are married, now that they've settled into their home. Okay, so now that Daphne and the Duke are married and settled in, the topic of children now comes up very, very, very frequently. Daphne does pretty well. I thought she handled it well on the tour of the house. Like, she's like, and here's your nursery. And Daphne's like, great, I'm just going to shut that door because it's fine.
It is fine.
It's fine. And she moves on. So I was like, okay, she seems to have really stuck with the idea that, they won't be able to have kids. And she's trying her best to just really be okay with it and be happy with what she's got. So they are very happy at the beginning of the episode. Honeymoon phase,
I'd say.
Yeah.
Full moon.
Yeah, lots of, so I wrote in my notes, a lot of the episode centers around them settling into the new home, like on the grounds. And then all while an instrumental of a Taylor Swift song plays, which we forgot to mention last time, all the instrumentals.
Oh, yes. I was enjoying figuring out the songs.
Like, is that Shawn Mendes?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and this is the scene. There's a scene with them, settling into their
I like that you use the word settling.
Yeah, so...
They were settling something.
They were settling all over. But they're at the gazebo and it's pouring the rain and it's just everything. And
Very
this is where I was
Darcy-like.
thinking of the Pride and Prejudice, like, I love you most ardently, except
Yes.
in this case they're both naked and they're really going at it. So it was kind of, well, this is a little bit more brisk.
So, talking about them going at it, I meant to mention in like the biggest, in episode 5, during their going at it, how he quickly just jumps off of her.
Yes, so...
Very suspicious.
Yes, in episode 5, we get a hint as a viewer of aha, and then in episode 6, it is very confirmed that yes,
he's a puller outer.
Yes, so this is where, we really get this realization that the Duke's inability to have children, it does come down to him using the pull-out method. And I was like, it's fine. And I was like, for this time period...
I know, I was actually totally impressed that he had the pull-out method.
It's one of the better methods. I mean, in some of my studies, we talked about women using half of an orange peel as a means of contraception. So you know what? You use what you got to.
Right.
So,
but at the same time, Daphne does not understand the concept.
Right. So I was like, pull-out method, especially in this day and age that they're doing this, it's one of the best options for contraception. It works in their room. It works on the lawn. It works in the library. Just, everywhere.
Works in the office,
it works
the desk.
Everywhere that you need it to work for them. So they got it covered. So, and then, of course, Daphne and her maid, Rose, which I actually really like Rose.
I really like Rose,
She's really nice. But they are joking about their spirited activities, as they called them, with her getting, like, knots in her hair. And she's all tore up all the time. And they're just cracking up. And I was like... That's some good friends right there. So, in the midst of all this, mingling, we've got Daphne and the Duke heading to their little village fair, where Daphne just makes a total ass of herself. And I was a little surprised because Simon just lets her.
I know. I was like, why?
But then I kind of thought about it a little bit more, and I thought, well... He did not seem to be on the up and up about what is going on.
Yeah, he did not seem to understand any of what his responsibilities were.
So it's like, it seems like, his dad and mostly the steward were managing the property. So Simon's really kind of coming in this blind too. So he's like
getting stressed.
Yeah, he's getting very stressed, but he's also like smiling like a dope, walking around with Daphne while she's, making an ass out of herself in front of everyone. And he's just like, this is great. Isn't this great? And she's like, it's wonderful. And everyone's giving them shifty eyes, and everyone's just like, oh God, these rich people, like, why are they doing this?
Right. But it wasn't on purpose.
It wasn't. They're just young and they're trying their best. So then Daphne becomes friends with this little girl, this really cute little girl, and her like super pregnant mom.
Isn't it Ada?
I think his name's little Ada or something.
She's so cute. And her mom is ridiculously pregnant.
Like, I don't know how.
It doesn't even look real.
It doesn't make any sense how pregnant she is.
Like she looks about 12 months pregnant.
12 months pregnant, but with triplets.
Yeah, okay, definitely.
Like, she's pretty. She's very, very pregnant.
It's very strange.
Yeah, so then, of course, now everything gets a little awkward with Simon because, again, he's watching his wife having this really nice interaction with this little girl, and she's so natural with children, and, like, everything, you know, he's kind of thinking about it and she's thinking about it and she's like, oh, don't worry about me, I was worried about you, like, oh no, like everything's going great, everything's going swell. But then
super duper.
yeah, so then everything starts to take a really terrible turn in their relationship pretty early on. So Daphne started putting pieces together about exactly how somebody becomes pregnant.
Right. Because she's speaking to the housekeeper.
Yeah, she speaks to a bunch of different other people.
Right. Mrs. Coulson says something about the seed. Mm-hmm. That it's not always the woman's fault when they can't get pregnant. Mm-hmm. The seed needs to be planted well. And so she's like, seed?
Yeah, and then she sees Simon getting rid of such
seed.
Yeah, and she's
into a tissue. I really, honestly, I don't know why.
I thought she was gonna snatch the tissue.
I thought she was gonna snatch the tissue and like wipe herself with it. And it's very like
That's what I thought too. I thought she was gonna snatch that tissue he used, which is really like a handkerchief. Right. I thought she was gonna snatch it and just shove it right on up there. And I was like, what? But she didn't.
But she didn't. But that is what
that's what I was thinking.
It actually reminded me of like some movie from the 90s where like the babysitter finds a used condom and like
so gross.
Like immediately that's what I thought of, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
she's not gonna do that, right?
I know, that's all I was just thinking. I was like, oh my god.
I do totally.
Yeah
yeah
So she talks to Rose, her BFF at the house, and she's like, listen, like, nothing embarrassing. I just, like, I really need you to be 110% honest because I don't know what's going on with my husband.
Can you explain to me how exactly one is to become pregnant? Like, what needs to happen? I need the mechanics of it.
Yes. So this is where she decides, or she understands that Simon is doing something deliberately.
Yes.
And she sees it as he's doing something deliberately to hurt me. Because he knows how much I want children, and he lied to me.
Yeah,
He thought she understood.
Right, but you don't say, I can't have children.
When you mean, I will not have children.
To be fair, he already knows that Daphne is pretty ignorant and has not had proper lessons about this.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, I think once he had that little brief talk with her at the beginning about it, I think he kind of assumed that someone will talk to her, like, before we actually get married, about how all this works. And I think he just kind of assumed that she would understand his intention and he wasn't thinking specifically about the wording he was using. He just thought she understood, like, hey, like, I've got a past and I'm just not going to have children.
Right. She was supposed to read his mind and know all of that. And instead of saying, I do not want children.
Right.
I do not want to have them. Not, I can't have them. That's a totally different thing. And she feels betrayed.
That's a totally different discussion. Okay, so this is where we're going to get into our content warning, trigger warning, however you want to take it. Just very briefly, what we're going to talk about. There's a scene near the end of this episode where Daphne actually plans and schemes, and then she ends up raping the Duke. And I've seen a lot of stuff online, a lot of controversy about this scene, so I just wanted to put on the table my opinion. What Daphne did was assault, plain and simple. That's how I read it. That's how I saw it. Like, a lot of people online were like, well, no, he's bigger, stronger, and that's not how that works.
He asked permission.
Yeah, he did a lot to cover consent in a lot of ways, and, so I just kind of wanted to interject here. It's like, I know that in a lot of paperback romances, especially the older ones, a lot of them contain scenes of assault, sometimes between the two main characters at the beginning of the story, which is really messed up.
It's not romantic.
It's not romantic, but it's included in a lot of stories, and I feel like this scene and the way it was portrayed in the show, because I assumed, seeing that content warning given by Netflix, that, oh, okay, I need to prepare myself. Like, one of our females in the show is probably going to have some sexual violence inflicted upon her, which, of course, the show brilliantly turned it around in this way of, like, well, it can happen to men too. It
Yeah.
can happen within a loving relationship.
Right.
It's just so many, it doesn't have to be incredibly violent. It's just, the important thing was that,
he wanted her to stop.
yes, and that's it.
And he conveyed that.
Yes, he conveyed it. Like,
he was like, wait.
He's like, what are you doing? Like, yes, he was consenting at the beginning of it, but he turned that around because she took his power and control of the situation away from him.
Right.
And that's just it. And so, like I said, I saw a lot of people online who seem to not understand that that is abuse and that's assault. And a lot of people are like, no. Like, all he did was, he was trying to say, you can't have kids, and she forced, kids on him. That's not, like, no. It's the same as somebody taking away their partner's birth control. It's
right.
It's same
Poking
thing.
A hole in a condom.
Yes.
And he was like, wait. He said, he verbalized that he wanted her to stop.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely I can definitely see how this can be a very, very triggering scene. So, okay. So what happened? It's abuse. Daphne did it. And some people said they thought, well, it was fine because he did lie. And it's her, it's his fault.
It's never fine.
It's never fine. I hated it. It made me really, really, really dislike Daphne. Like, very much. I still very much, I'm like, okay, well, no thanks. Like, I don't know. That's my opinion. I was all about Daphne before. And after this scene, I very quickly went, oh no. Ugh.
Right.
Yeah, especially...
She kind of did it as
a vendetta. Yeah, she planned it. She felt self-righteous.
Thought about it.
Yeah, she felt self-righteous in doing it.
And she was like, I'm taking this.
Right.
And that's what she did. She took it. She should have had a conversation.
Yeah, and then she lashed out at him like, well, this is your fault because you lied. And I was like,
how's he supposed to take that? The biggest thing from the relationship that was missing was communication.
Yes.
100% they did not communicate.
Yes.
And that does not make this okay.
No. Yeah, it was like, I know the Me Too movement is fairly recent, and this is supposed to be a Regency era thing, and I was like, and I also have read online that the scene took place a little bit differently in the book.
Okay.
So, in the book, she ends up getting him drunk. So it's much more of a...
much more of an assault.
Yeah, it's very much more... It's more obviously
an assault.
Right, yes. Because I was like, well, I can see how people in this day and age... But again, I think that was actually a smart move on their part to do it differently, because it does spark up discussion, because it's not so obviously assault to people in this case. I think it definitely will make people think a little bit harder about what they consider to be assault and abuse. So I was like, okay, well, scenes like that don't always necessarily need to be included in things, but they did tone it down, it sounds like, from what happened in the book, but they still left a strong message of like, hey, this needs to be a discussion in our culture. This is not okay. So I appreciated the way they handled it, and like I said, and some people were like, wow, Netflix, you need to tell us. And I was like, they've only been telling you since episode 1 in the content warnings. Like,
right.
This is why they put them there. You should read them because they tell you, hey, this is going to happen at some point, so be prepared.
Right.
So, yeah, so that's kind of where we get with them. They end on a very, very, very sour note. So, okay, from there, I'm going to jump off into some side character business here. So we've got Colin still, and I just wrote, I don't like his face. That's what I wrote in my notes. I don't know what it is. I think I've seen him in something before.
Okay.
And I have to look it up, but whatever it is, I just don't like his face. So it's bugging me. And then I started thinking,
wow.
I know, it's terrible. As much as we're talking about such a terrible subject matter, and then jumping into something so mean. But
I mean, at least you know it's mean.
I know, but I just wrote it down. I just don't like his face. I don't know why. Um, he's fine. Like I said, I swear I've seen him. I need to look it up. It doesn't matter. So, and then I also took a note that, are we missing a child? I realized that as I was thinking about it, we're missing Francesca. And then I was like, is she a ghost? And then I felt really bad because I was like, did she die in childbirth or something? And I didn't know, but I don't think she did. I think she's somewhere else. I think they mentioned it again, that her being gone. There's a child missing because the young girl in the house is Hyacinth.
And then there's the little boy.
Gregory. And Francesca's the one older than him, and she's not there.
Oh. Oh my gosh, it took me. I lost a child.
I know, it took me this long to get into it. Then I realized, wait, I think I'm missing somebody.
Somebody's missing.
I started counting the children. I was like,
A, B,
wait.
C, D, E, F.
Yeah, I was like, where the F is F?
Where the F?
So we've got Colin. He's announcing to everyone at a party, which is the best time to do this, that him and Marina are to be married.
Without even telling anybody.
Telling or consulting, and Anthony's very not happy about it. You can tell immediately from his face. Mm-hmm. Their mom's like, oh God, everyone's here. Just keep smiling. We'll talk about it later. So, Penelope is so distressed by everything, and she's, so upset.
Yes, my heart hurts for her.
Yeah, and she knows that Colin doesn't know that Marina's already pregnant with someone else's baby. So she's just crushed.
This is another thing, trapping somebody.
Yes. Not good. Not cool.
Not cool. This is why I'm conflicted with Marina. I understand that, especially during these times.
Yes, I absolutely understand her desperation, but it's still not cool. It's hard.
Just kind of sucks.
Either way, it's like it's not going to be a good outcome for them. So, we've got poor Penelope here, and she's got the lowest self-esteem. And I was like, I feel you so hard. I feel so bad for Penelope. Just, Marina comes in the room, and Penelope's pissed at her. Mm-hmm. So she's like, wow, Penelope, you look beautiful today. And she's like, don't mock me. Like, don't talk down to me and all this stuff. And I'm just like, just poor Penelope. Just everything about it just makes me feel so bad for her. And then it seems also that Marina's just really not wanting to see that Penelope is in love with Colin. I almost want to know if it's because she doesn't see Penelope as a potential love rival. Because she is a little younger, a little heavier, whatever. She seems very young and naive.
She even says that. He sees you as a sister.
Right.
Basically. He sees me as a woman. So, during this point, Penelope's mother and Marina have a discussion, and Penelope overhears.
About them trapping Colin, yeah.
Yes. She's basically like, I'm going to seduce him.
Right. So now we've got Penelope. She's pissed. She's throwing wild shade on everybody all the time, I love it.
I love it. She's like, do you really think this is going to work?
Yes, very she's playing coy almost in this way. She's like, oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh, I'm so sorry that I'm laughing at you over here. Like, don't mind me. You guys are just ridiculous. So I was like, wow, Penelope's she's going wild. She's just doing what she can. And then so while, again, we get back to her with her sleuthing. Now, while everyone's at the party, she fakes sick, which I thought was so funny. Her mother looks disgusted when she's coughing.
It's just like, okay, bye.
She's like, oh, are you sick? Goodbye. And I was like, oh, yes. What a great mom. So she does her little sleuthing. She finds out her mother forged the letters to Marina, where George says he wants nothing to do with her or their child, and whatever. But Marina's like, I don't have time for this. Penelope's like, check this out. And she's like, that's cool and all, except I still haven't heard from him. I still don't even know if he's alive or even wants me and my child. And I'm about to pop this baby out in, I have a timer.
6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a timer going, so I can't wait for this. So, like you said, it's hard to dislike her, but it's not like she's my favorite. It's just, she's just doing what she can to survive. So I don't blame her.
The situation is difficult.
Yeah, and it's different. It's different than the others as well.
Right.
So, and then we've got this episode ending. Penelope runs over to Eloise and she's bawling her eyes out, which I was like, not gonna lie, almost got me because whenever people start crying, it makes me cry.
Yeah, you're a ball baby.
I know, but it's just
all the crying. Negatively, you just really
it's a thing. Like she just starts bawling, and I was like, great. Now my eyes see your eyes doing that leaky thing, and now my eyes want to do the leaky thing too, and I hate it. So we've got Pen having a meltdown. Eloise is still trying to figure out who Lady Whistledown is. Everyone's just kind of like brokenhearted about this whole situation. And then Lady Whistledown spills the tea on Marina and puts out her next little newsletter thing. So now Colin knows, and his mama knows. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows Marina is with child.
Yes.
And trying to trap Colin.
Yeah, everyone knows Colin's not the father. Oh, this would have been such a great episode.
I really need to watch episode 7. But
I'm just thinking what a great episode of 90s reality TV this makes.
Oh, very true.
Got some Jerry Springer going on. He is not the father. And
the father!
Everyone losing their mind, flipping chairs.
Yes. Okay.
So now, that's where we're going to end.
But wait, there's more.
So we still have episodes 7 and 8 to go over. So we will do that in the next episode.
But you're cutting me off before I can even get to my one note on episode 6.
Oh, yes, your one note.
My one note.
Your one note for Swish.
My Swish. Okay, which it took me a minute to realize what Swish was, but she was like checking to see whether or not she could see the belly.
Yeah, she's like, can I see your baby bump?
Let me see you swish.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where, how does Lady Whistledown know? How does she know she's pregnant? So, like, this is what I've been thinking of. But the only thing I could come up with is that she was preparing for a wedding. So she was getting fitted for her gowns. So, wouldn't it be obvious?
Possibly.
Not.
I mean, the modiste is definitely another good option.
Yes.
She interacts with society. She's a single lady, but she's not of society.
Right. And people talk freely while you're fitting them for dresses.
Oh, yeah.
So,
plus she's got that fake French accent, so she's tricking all kinds of people and thinking whatever.
So, was like, how does she know? How does Lady Whistleblower?
Yeah, Lady Whistleblower.
Lady Whistleblower know that Marina is pregnant. So that was the only part of the episode that I could think of, is they were in the shop and she was getting fitted.
And there's gossip.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you even see Eloise take a moment.
Wasn't there a scene with Marina and she like sassed the modiste?
Yes, they were talking in French.
Yeah, because she kind of which I was like, okay, Marina is very street smart. You can tell she grew up out in the country, but I'm like, she's very smart because she straight up confronts the modiste when the modiste is like, listen, y'all, like, your bill has not been paid except in Frenchy sounds. So she's, there's this point of the bill, you have not paid the bill. And they were like, don't talk to me about money with that fake French accent. So yeah, so Marina's just like, hey, where are you from? Because my mom's French.
All in French.
Right. And she's like, this is really kind of funny, huh? So you're going to make my dress, right? And the modiste is like, absolutely, I am on it. Let me do that right now.
Right.
So that would give her motivation too. Yeah. And Eloise looks at all the quills in the modiste's place and is like, quills. People use quill pens to write. And I was like, I don't know, Eloise.
I mean, I don't know.
I think it's too obvious. I think it's too obvious.
But maybe.
But that would be a good choice too.
But maybe she knows.
Maybe. She does know all the hot gossip too.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
So, but this is the opportunity, I think, for Marina's pregnancy to be discovered was
Yeah.
possibly that was my theory. I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Everything's going to crash down. I feel kind of bad.
Yeah, I don't see this all ending super well for Marina regardless. Kind of in a situation you can't back out of that easily. I was almost thinking, what if Marina gives her baby to the Duke and Daphne? Because if Daphne wants a baby, but the Duke doesn't want to give her a baby, like an official, legitimate baby, why couldn't they just adopt her baby or something?
I don't actually know.
I mean, I'm sure people do stuff like that.
I know, but maybe Marina doesn't.
They could raise it as a ward.
I mean, it's an option.
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm just thinking because, if Marina doesn't have any options and they're like, look, we'll take care of you, just give us that baby or share that baby. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're reaching.
Probably.
Okay, so now, now we have talked all the things.
Yes, so now we will get back together. We will recollect ourselves after viewing episodes 7 and 8.
And thank you for listening. If you actually made it to the end of our episode, I appreciate you.
We have so much to talk about. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We've got our blog. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. So just kind of poke around, look for us, find us. Questions, comments, rate, review, subscribe. All the fun things.
All the fun things. And look for Capricorn's YouTube video of her pieced together for our podcast. I love that you do little pictures.
Oh. It's just fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I know, but I like it. It gives you something to look at if you need a visual.
Yeah, if you need a visual. I just thought it was funny, too, looking at the video, because when we're sitting around going, does Penelope have red hair? And there's a picture of in front of everyone with her with red hair. I just laugh a little bit to myself, because I'm like, yeah, pictures actually are very helpful.
Very helpful.
So...
But yes, so please look for us. You can also email us. Our email is
thetimeofourwives@gmail.com. Like I said, you can find us on most social media things as well now. We're still working on putting things up. But yeah, tell your friends. Watch Bridgerton. Watch it with your friends, or watch it by yourself. Or do what you want.
Or watch it with your dog.
Or watch it with your dog. Maybe your dog's actually really into Regency era things and you never bothered to ask. I mean, maybe.
I mean, our cat is. So.
Our cat is definitely into it.
All right, well, thank you. This has been The Time of Our Wives.
A Happy New Year. We hope to see much more of you all in the near future.
Yes.
All right, have a good night.
Good night.